Good morning, everyone. This is Philip Ong with an update here from the forest. Sorry I didn't update you guys yesterday. In the end, I'll catch you guys up today this morning. I gotta keep it a little bit on the short side because I got some family obligations today. But I'll catch you up on what's going on. As we speak right now, it's been on the order of maybe 45 hours or so since the last collapse event at the summit. So we're waiting for that to happen, and the surge that will seem to follow it, perhaps. Now, all the surges have been really observed at Fissure 8. You know, we've been talking about how Fissure 8's been changing over the last few days, and it seems like there's still a lot of lava coming out of there, and it's flowing within the channel. The channel seems like it's a little deeper than before, so it may be that the surges are not as visible within the channel up by Fissure 8. So we're not really sure, you know, what the effect of the surges is up there, but we do still have a pattern of pulsing flows moving down towards the delta near Pohoiki. So good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining and watching. Sorry I fell asleep again last night. Didn't get you guys an update last night, but we did get to fly. Myself and Les Peterson of Hawaii Tracker got to fly with Scott Wilson of Aloha Skies Aviation yesterday and got a view ourselves of what was going on. We were scheduled to go out earlier in the morning, but it was really socked in rain, and we weren't able to do it till around midday or so. And so that kind of delayed the whole day, and that's kind of how I got off track there. But I do have some videos to show you guys from yesterday, some videos and photographs, and a little bit of what we know what's going on today. Just kind of catch you guys up. The patterns have been more or less the same. You know, we had a big lull previous to the last collapse event, and that allowed a lot of lava to drain out of the channel, a lot of crusting over. The surge came through. It maybe wasn't as visible around Fissure 8 or the upper part of the channel, but it was evident farther downstream. And that could be as likely as because there are several blockages that are actually occurring in that lower part of the channel. So those blockages are causing overflows. Even there was a photograph of an overflow from a couple of days ago, even during a lull, right? So that kind of was an eye-opener for me. The fact that even without the surge, we're having enough blockages that we could actually get overflows like that. So let me. I know my connection is not the greatest up here. I'm still working on that, you guys. So thanks for bearing with me and maybe catching us in replay. But let me show you guys what we got going on as of right now. So, all right, here we go. This is an image from Aloha Skies Aviation from yesterday evening. Oh, I got glare again. I'll figure this out here. There, that might work, huh? Something like that. Kind of too much glare. There we go. There we go. All right, so here's a photograph from yesterday afternoon, and we're looking at Pukapoho right here, and the lava channel goes down over here towards Pohoiki, and there's a big blockage happening right up here at the area of the marina. So there's that. There's you can see the edge of the channel right here that may be cracking and kind of slumping into this lower part that's still draining lava, but is not allowing the full volume through right there. So it's kind of backing up and spilling over both sides to the south and to the north, but the flows to the north are kind of renewed in intensity because we haven't seen as many flows to the north recently. So that's something, and of course that's where people are. So we're keeping a really close eye on that. And a report from Ikaika this evening, this morning, is that the lava flows have reactivated the tubes kind of closer to Pohoiki. So the red house would be there, the boat ramp's tucked in right in there, and you guys can see that this lobe that, you know, is not really that much closer to the boat ramp has actually been reactivated, and there's lava coming out of it now, whereas it wasn't on the overflight a couple days ago. Yesterday midday, we did see this area kind of steaming a bit, so we knew that there was, you know, some action happening in here. But it looks like it's a little more evident in this low light photograph where you can see the red of where it's actually coming out. It's not clear yet if there is any kind of flow back behind here. You can get reports that it's taking dead trees and into the parking lot, but we don't have any photographs of that happening, so it's hard to say exactly how far that's progressing, or whether it's the whole edge of the thing getting pushed sideways, or if it's how red it is, or that kind of thing. But we do know that there's concern about the movement of the flow in that area right there nearest to the boat ramp. Unfortunately, that's not a new thing. We've been kind of living on pins and needles with that for the last, well, how long has it been now? Almost a couple weeks, yeah. And that pattern kind of continues. So as of right now, we're in the lull between these collapse intervals. So I don't think that this is a flow that's being fed by a huge amount of lava. It's actually being fed by lava that's in the tubes. The tubes are probably kind of draining to some degree, and that's probably why it's able to kind of fan out in this area over here. So that seems to me to be it's a lot of lava still, you know, but it's not getting reinforced by that huge volume of the river right now, which is, you know, all you can ask for at this point in time. So it may be that when the next surge comes, things will be different, and, you know, things could change very quickly for the boat ramp or for other areas along the channel, which is, you know, more clogged now. So that's once again what we're waiting for. We're waiting for once again to see what that surge is going to lead to as far as changes in the system there. And a big concern for us is the fact that every time we have these lulls, this current lull is going on 45.5 hours. Thanks, Dane, for that info. So it's we're over our longer average now. We're definitely having 2 longer ones in a row now. So it seems like the pattern is actually holding, that we're having longer and longer intervals between the collapses, which is, you know, what we've all been kind of holding on to and hesitant to say is one of the signs of the slowing of the collapse at the summit, but it does seem like it is. The collapse of the summits are slowing, and in between we're seeing, you know, a big dwindling of the river of lava coming out of Fissure 8, and the lava level is seeming to kind of drop a little bit. The flow maybe slows down a little bit at the surface, at least, you know, maybe flowing just as quick underneath the surface. But the surface is kind of stagnating and kind of crusting over, and in areas forming lava tubes, and that's kind of what's happening in that marina area that I showed you guys down there. So those last 2 photographs I showed you were kind of the most recent ones we have from today, but I can show you guys a little bit of yesterday also, what I saw on the flight in a little more detail. So I know the glare is not great, but all these images are all posted on Hawaii Tracker, together with some by Les Peterson, who flew with me as well. So let me see. I'll see what I can do about so I can fix the glare anymore here. I had it a little better, but it's just really bright outside. Like, the only spot that I get my connection is out here where it's really bright. So and I don't have out my umbrella, so well, we'll just see what we can do. There, let's do that. We'll make it work. All right, guys, so this is a view of Fissure 8, and what you guys can see is that it's kind of bubbling up in 2 spots, bubbling up here near the mouth of it, and then here at the back wall as well. There's crust in between. You can kind of see a line of bubbles coming up in between those 2 areas right in there, and that's causing a massive flow to kind of cruise out of there. You can see that Mini 8 is mostly crusted over. The flow isn't really churning in through there, but it's definitely liquid underneath that crust. So that's a little bit different, right? You know, we've seen in the past, I was kind of going back and looking at some of those old videos and seeing that there actually were as many as 5 different spots of fountains in the early days, you know. So it might be we actually had a line somewhere between a tiny spot by Mini 8 and then another spot and another spot and another spot, another spot, and they kind of all became one giant roiling fountain, you know. But now that the levels maybe are fluctuating more, we could say that we clearly see just these 2, and, you know, those are maybe the biggest vents, or where the gas can come out the easiest. When I reported a few days ago, I said that there was some convection, there was some crust moving from this end and towards the back and sinking in, and there was some kind of spattering happening in the backside. So that's not what I saw yesterday. In fact, this bubbling spot in the back is just as strong as the one in the front. It actually might be squeezing slightly taller, whereas this one's a little bit broader, but they're both real big bubbling centers there. I'll show you guys one more time here. You guys can get a better sense of that, yeah. that movement in there. Oh. Airplane gave a jerk right there, but so that's what's going on at Fissure 8. And there's kind of an interesting little feature that's right there, right? The lava actually goes into this little tube right here, and it goes underneath this piece of crust and comes out right there. And it happened that we flew over right after the beginning of a pulse. So when we first flew by, we didn't see it quite as much churning going on, but then as we were circling, we did see it increase. And so this area over here, this is the big rock that's kind of been a steady presence down in the middle of the channel, just beyond the mouth of Fissure 8. And during the low levels of flow, we've seen the channel kind of stay on the south side, or this east side of it right here. Whereas this upper part over here is a little bit more shallow, right? So I actually have seen this part over here kind of crust over or dry up or, become stagnant as well. But in this particular photograph, it's actually flowing up and all the way around over top, so the levels are actually a little deeper. And what happened previously was because it was kind of stagnant, that piece of crust over here was kind of turning over and forming more of this overturning Pohoiki crust pattern right in there. And then as a surge came through and the lava levels in the channel got slightly deeper, you actually see the flow actually was able to get into that hole right there. Got in that hole, was able to push through that lava tube right there, and then suddenly the lava tube starts activating. So you see this really even pattern of the crust. Let me blow it up here, you guys can see a little better. Right, a really even pattern of the crust that was like extruded out, squeezed out, right? The lava that first came out was probably a little bit pastier. It had been sitting inside of that tube for a little while until the flow deepened and pushed it out and through. It reminds me a lot of the patterns I see when my kids play with their Play-Doh press thing. I'm not sure what you call it. Not exactly a little pump, but like the noodle maker. You just push out that really, really pasty, doughy lava out of that little crack, and you see the nice Pohoiki rope arches that it makes right there in the center where the flow is kind of slowing, and then the straight edges where it's kind of allowing the center to move relative to the edges on the crack. So I thought that was interesting myself, to see that kind of pattern, actually captured in a photograph right there. The fact that the pulse is actually changing the morphology of the surface of the flow there was really, really interesting to me. So that's what's going on at Fissure 8. The pulses are still happening, obviously. This is a video I took of looking further down the channel, so you guys can see the channel is actually all the way drained. You see lava on the surface of the channel is not visible. Everything's just all solid, but there actually are lava tubes flowing underneath here, so the lava, even though not visible to surface, is making it all the way through and coming out at the ocean entry. Farther down, and there it is. There's the ocean entry. We're still going strong. You guys can see there's a little bit of action over here on the Pohoiki side, but mostly over in the Halanui, right? So that area is what we showed you a photograph of glowing earlier today. So most of the lava is still going this way, but the lava that is going through the tubes that way is obviously still of concern to us. So yeah, that's the Pohoiki one. Let's show you guys a little bit of the lava channel. Apologize for the glare. Maybe that'll help if I... So there's Fissure 8 at the top. There's a big channel coming down. The first braid right up here, the first braid is stagnating. Something's blocking the bottom of it, and the lava flow isn't going in there, and this part is drying up. The second braid on the north also has already dried up. That's been dried up for several days, almost over a week now. So we're almost going to a single channel now, moving to the south. You can see the edges of the bank, so lava levels are a little lower than before. Here it gets a little higher, kind of pooling up. Here's a spillover right there. Another spillover right there. There is the bottleneck, partial blockage. Some lava is draining out through here. You guys can see a little bit of the red. Some is going through there, but not as much as is coming in. And what is going in is probably going through the tube underneath there, underneath that area, and flowing down out towards the ocean. It's not uncommon that lava tubes can actually have multiple levels. It can kind of be stacked, right? So there can kind of be an upper section that takes overflow and a lower section that takes the flow kind of unseen underground. And they form because the surface crust is moving slow enough, exposed to the air, that it can actually solidify and form a bridge. It's not unlike having a river in the winter of water, freezing ice from the banks, right? You start forming ice in the banks eventually come together and meet, and the river keeps flowing liquid underneath there, but you still have that kind of ice bridge on top. So that's essentially how a lava tube forms. it just does that in a sense where once the rock freezes, it probably never remelts again, and there's like an eternal winter for the lava once it's on the surface. So that's basically how that works. I'm not trying to move along quickly today because I do have a limited amount of time. Just comparing here, these are some photographs that Les Peterson and I were looking at yesterday of May 28th. So this is the first day Fissure 8 actually began, right? So this is Fissure 8 right here. And now the cone kind of grows around it. This little spot over here on the right is Mini 8. And we see the fissures that are behind it are actually active as well. So we got this from Mick Kalber's video, Tropical Visions video. So you guys can check out off his Vimeo page if you guys want to relive those early days. There's all his videos of this phase of eruption are up there, and really interesting to see now and compare with what we see today. There's a different view of it, kind of from a reverse angle for you guys there. So that would be 8 right there, Mini 8, and the lava channel that goes this way is the one you kind of see beginning right here in this photograph. But that was kind of just a little interlude. Let's go back to the views we have of the lava river and lava channel. So there's the ocean entry. You guys can see maybe if I can get less glare, the main spot over here, and the Pohoiki side spot over here, kind of glowing. Pohoiki just off to the side. We see some of the areas of burn along the lava channel. Here's our dry northern lower braid, right? Here's the clog at the upper braid, and this backup is causing lava to kind of stagnate through here. There must be some partial blockage farther up, it seems, as well, because even though lava is going in there, it doesn't seem to be wanting to go in very much, or it's not flowing very fast in there, maybe because there's no outlet. So those are two changes we're seeing as well. And it was in this upper area right here where we saw that this clog had caused a spillover. It burned these trees right in here during the lull, right? So, and in fact, we believe spillovers are actually occurring right now. Okay, so let's see. I see some questions coming in. So, geothermal plant, there's a geothermal plant. There have been no kind of spillovers near there, although you guys can kind of see this black side of the hill right here. That's the brush fire that took out the PG cam. Looks like that might be it, and maybe it's just a shadow, but I think I might see some burn scar in there. So we're looking kind of towards the south, right? So all the other fissures are actually back over here. So 17, I believe, is over in here. And I see that one might be 18, 16. I'm not sure exactly which ones are in there. I believe 20 and 22 are in an area over here, but they kind of form a line all going this way through here. Right, where all the old fissures are, right through there. So, okay, let me kind of zoom us forward here. We don't see a whole lot of spillovers. I mean, there are some recent ones. You guys can see kind of how when lava levels get tall or there's a clog, the spillovers happen on the side, but none of those are active or recently active that I can tell. So, kind of zooming up to the fissure. There's a fissure once again. You guys can see how low the levels are within Mini 8, right? You can see that clear exposed back cliff. And there's probably the beginning of our pasty lava coming out right through there, yeah, through that lava tube. So report from Dane. We have spillovers in the Noni Farms area again. Some flows are going north. Most of it's going to the south and starting some fires. So we know the spillovers are still happening. Once again, we're in a lull now, so that's kind of my concern is now that we have so many spillovers happening during our lulls, what does that mean during our surges? You know, can the surges actually take the volume of lava that's going to be coming down the system? You know, so that's what we're kind of anticipating what's going on. It's been, you know, we're getting on to close to 46 hours now since the last collapse event and surge. Okay, so here's that first bend, right? Here's our spillover once again, where the clog happened and a spillover occurred here. It seemed like that kind of waned, it cleared whatever it was able to push back in the channel. The channel is definitely a lot lower on this side. You see it kind of drained out compared to over there. So Les Peterson had an interesting suggestion, which is that these southern channels may actually be a bit deeper because they've had more flow, so they've carved down more, and that means the flow can stay in them longer. So when it comes time for any kind of blockage, then these northern channels are the ones being abandoned. And that's a good idea to kind of to go with and kind of analyze further as we get more information. But the fact really is that now almost for sure the southern branch, I'm sorry, this The bottom of the figure 8 northern branch has been abandoned already, and it looks like the up top of the figure 8 northern branch is also being abandoned right there. So, and an area that's really causing me the most concern is the area that has been referred to as the lava shipwreck, lava berg shipwreck area, the marina, those kind of things. So we'll see what we can see about that now. Here is the flow below there, kind of draining out of there. So you can see there's still a lot of lava. It's still red. It's kind of forming that crust. There's probably tube underneath there. But here, there is all those, the shipwreck area right there. You guys can see there's a big clog right there. You guys really can't see the lava river in here anywhere. Here it is right here, coming in from the top. So right in there, that's the area of clogging that we're worried about. And that's where the spillovers are happening down towards Noni Farms area right there, even as we speak right now. And so that's definitely of concern. This is a video I took yesterday midday of the Pohoiki area, so you can see the boat ramp, and there wasn't actually at that time any advance that I could see of that flow towards the parking lot, but the reports from this morning are that this whole area right here is actually all reactivated. So we'll see how that's actually developing now. Right, it's a little bit hard to see the changes until we have more aerial photographs from today. So we'll see how that goes. There's an ocean entry side view, right? So the boat ramp would be back over here to the right. This is the area that's kind of been active closest to the boat ramp, kind of picking up. So there's definitely lava going in the ocean there. It's not glowing red in the daytime just because it's too bright compared to the earlier photograph I showed you guys. But then over here to the east, you guys see the much stronger ocean entry at Halanui, where the bulk of the lava is going to the ocean through the lava tubes. So, yep, let's keep going from there. Show you guys one more view of this area of the clogging right there, right? Lava coming in, there's the clog, and then draining down through there, and overflow is now going north towards the top of the screen there. All right, so there's a still photograph, maybe it's a little easier to see. Okay, you guys can see right there, that's actually a red lobe of lava that's kind of flowing over from the top through there. There's a spot right here in the channel where we have a little breach to the south, or to the north right here, that's kind of spilling over that way and feeding a little channel. So it may be that one of these two areas, you know, if I had to guess, I'd guess this one. You know, it looks like it can take lava fairly directly from the channel and put it down towards the north. In this view, there's also spillover is visible. Let's see if I can get any better focus right in here. Focus, focus. Glare is giving me problems. Okay, well, right in here, this area right in here in the north is also, or to the south, is also a spillover area. So whatever's clogging it, when there's a pulse coming through, or a surge, or anything that's causing a backup, extra blocks clogging it in there. I mean, what the clog might actually be might be, I mean, it's hard to really know, but you know, with as many of these lava bergs, lava boats as we see going down the channel, we gotta imagine there's probably 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of them kind of stacked on each other in there, and there's little gaps between them, so some of the flow can still kind of push its way through there. And the mass and the weight of that river of lava, you know, is enough to kind of push them and maybe dislodge them at some point. But there's got to be something like that, almost like a little beaver dam, you know, a little rock dam, you know, boulder dam down there that's causing that to happen. So some of the flow is going through, but not all of it. And when there's too much, it kind of can go and breach the channel like this. And one big concern that we have is that an area like that, you know, could actually, if this goes on long enough, if it can somehow destabilize or carve a slight little notch in there, then it makes it more likely to spill over the next time, and then more likely the next time, and then can kind of become a self-feeding process, right? So depending on the cycle of the pulses and the lulls, you know, that's the danger we have of this flow kind of spilling to the north and affecting the inhabited areas near Cinder Road still. And we've seen some photographs from the ground, and this area is really built up. You know, some reports are up to an area between 40 and 60 feet higher than before, right? So that is filling the ground, and what used to be a low spot is no longer quite a low spot. The glare is getting worse, you guys. Let's see what I can do here. The glare is worse. Well. Nope, it's not helping. Well, we'll have to just roll with it. So okay, let me see what else I can share with you guys. Maybe I can just switch off from the iPad for now for a little while. That's basically the area of concern that we have is that. And let me kind of flip through the photographs here. Well, here's one that I did want to share with you guys. Let's see if I can get this set up. This is a photo I took from the plane, and what I wanted to show you guys is this is a section of the southern part of the braid. Come on, iPad. Stay where I put you. All right, there. So here I'll zoom in to make it a little easier to see what I'm talking about here. But what we're looking at is the channel. Oh, come on. And right in here is a big lava berg, right in there. And this big lava berg, you guys can't really see that at all. Here, let's try something else. Nope. Maybe that'll do it. Okay, I think that'll work. Right, so there's a lava berg right there. Right, here's a channel. Moving down a channel, we can, hover in the air, of course. You guys can see how narrow it gets right in there, right? So compare the size, the width of that gap right there to the size of this block right here. And you guys can see why these overflows may actually be happening, right? So you can see that thing is going to go downriver, and it's going to fit through that gap, and it'll likely break apart a little bit because these blocks are kind of cracked inside, and there's lava squeezing into them. But you guys can kind of see that's just one example of why these overflows may keep happening more and more and more. Every time the lull happens, more of these blocks break off from the side, right, and can clog the channel. Whether in one big chunk or in several little chunks altogether. So yeah, that's a photograph I had to share with you guys. Let me kind of just quickly show you a little bit of other stuff. Here we have the lava cam. So even though we've lost the PG cam by USGS, we still have the citizen scientist Harry Durgan has made this webcam available at lavacam.org. So you guys can see Fissure it's still fuming over there. You don't really see any lava in there right now, but that could be because of the light. And here is our most recent tilt plot. So you guys can see that this one was one of our longest, if not the longest, interval events we actually had. So we're kind of coming on to that. The next one is getting pretty long as well. We did have this funny mid event a while ago that kind of had me thinking what that might mean as far as the changes go. Normally, when these bigger jumps are happening, it's indicating some kind of bigger release of energy, right, or something like that. Maybe it's actually hitting the bottom of the void in the caldera, and kind of maybe that's what's actually causing that big spike. And if that's the case, then a smaller collapse may have hit that area also, and that might mean that it's kind of reaching the edges of the collapse zone down underneath that hole somewhere. It's just an idea, so but if we see the pattern continue, then it seems like the collapse events are slowing, in fact. So, but meanwhile, we'll wait for that to happen, and once it does, then we'll go and look for reports from the ground and aerial photographs. So it seems like anytime we're expecting that, at some point in the next few hours for sure. If I had time to go have a nice picnic in Volcano, I could probably go feel that earthquake myself. But I have other obligations, unfortunately, and I gotta wrap it up here and take off. So let me just take a couple of quick questions. Let's not gonna go back here. Why does lava not melt to bergs? It actually can. It actually can. So it's kind of it's a ratio of how much hot and how much cold you actually get, right? So if like I imagine if you throw a pebble into a river of lava, it's likely gonna melt. But when you have something that large like the lava berg, it's more like dipping ice cream into a hot chocolate fudge and then pulling it out right away. So you actually have that kind of chocolate shell that kind of wraps around the ice cream. And you know, the way you get it is by dipping the frozen cold ice cream into the hot fudge. If you leave it in there, then yeah, the ice cream's gonna melt, but if you pull it right out again, then there's actually more cold than there is hot. So the hot stuff actually freezes against that bulk of the cold ice cream, right? So it's a similar thing. That's why you see these lava bergs kind of coated in these sheets of silver lava, because they're relatively cold compared to the actual liquid lava, and they can absorb a lot of that heat, and it doesn't take that much to actually cause it to go past its freezing point and kind of form that sheet on it. Of course, you know, lava berg's getting hotter on the inside every time that happens, and it kind of destabilizes it, and it's getting rocked and you know, rolled all the way down the channel. So eventually they do kind of tend to have cracks in them. They formed from being cracked in the first place. So they often will crack and break apart into smaller pieces when they get into those narrow areas or rub against something else, you know. But that still means there's still a lot of blocks of rock in the channel, even if they aren't all giant size, you know. So, but that's kind of how I believe it works. So let me see if there maybe can take one more question. Is there a definite correlation between earthquakes and the surges? That's kind of up for debate, actually. So you know, I think it was really exciting when the USGS discovered that there was, you know, at least some correlation between the collapse events and the surges, but not every collapse event has formed a surge. So that's where it's really hard to kind of nail it down. Are we not seeing the surge because it's not happening? Are we not seeing it because the lava channel is deeper? I don't know exactly. So that's a hard one to figure out. So yeah, the other thing I should mention is that there is still Hurricane Hector is still out there. I've been trying to learn about the plans to make sure that everyone who's in shelter or camping is actually accounted for. But it's been hard to mobilize much information so far. So I'll let you guys know when I find out more about that. But I expect Kīlauea is probably going to be taking the lead on that. But I haven't had a chance to really catch up with him. Last night he was playing at the Palace Theater in his other career as a extremely talented musician. So we'll let you know when we can figure out more about the housing situation there, and you know, how big a threat the hurricane may actually be. You know, some of the forecasts are kind of leaning towards it passing south of the island and not making a direct hit on us, but it doesn't mean we won't still get some wind and some rain, and you know, a lot of surf that may actually affect that ocean entry area and the former ocean entry area. So thank you guys. I gotta sign off now. Thanks for joining me. I will look for the photographs from the middle of the day today, and I believe Hawaii Tracker will as well. So when you guys, as soon as we have those available, they'll go up on Hawaii Tracker, and we'll do another update for you guys probably tonight, kind of including all that information. It might be a later night one again, and hopefully I will not fall asleep this time. Trying to put the kids to bed. So thank you guys for your support. Thanks for supporting Hawaii Tracker, and thanks for putting up with our I don't know what you call it, irregular schedule. Yeah, so I've kind of just been doing these updates whenever the time allows, whenever I can squeeze them in between other things going on, and whenever the images are available as well. So so yeah, we'll do them kind of regular as much as we can, but the next one I expect will be tonight if I can get it done that way. So thank you guys. Thanks for watching, and I should give a shout out to Kīlauea and John Stallman for their constant reporting as well, and all the guys at Hawaii Tracker, of course, and all the other people who have volunteered and helped and kind of been part of the relief effort. You know, that maybe right now, as a hub is going through their reorganization, maybe are not quite as visible, but these guys are still all out there, and we feel just as supportive of everyone as well. So just thank you guys, and we'll see how that evolves, right? Metamorphosis into something newer and perhaps even more beautiful. So thanks, guys, and stay classy, Puna. Aloha.